Hey, how's it going? Hope you're safe and well. Now, this video is kind of an interesting blend of different elements, kind of like when you go to a buffet and you put donuts on the same plate as baked beans. I've done it before, and it's actually not that bad. Yeah, I think it was alright. But anyway, there are a couple probable causes of all this craziness. Number one being, I've been doing a project which I can't tell you, which has been sapping out the time, which is not related to this channel, but kind of is at the same time. Number two, trouble, which I'll come to in another video. But first of all, this video, just a load of different things which are unrelated. Getting hands-on, first look, whatever. Starting off with this, Leica M10-R. A high-resolution Leica M, but before we get into the nitty-gritty, a shout out to the sponsor of this video. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the place to go to if you want to set up your own slick-looking website or online store. But in actual fact, M10 monochrome was the first Leica M to breach 40 megapixels, so this is essentially just an M10 monochrome with a colour filter array. I mean, it most likely involves a bit more than just that, but this is quite big news because this is the first Leica M that shoots colour to breach 40 megapixels, and that is big news in the world of Leica. In the world of Leica, less is usually more, apart from when they give you more. It's more. But why raise the resolution? After all, 24 megapixels is a decent amount of megapixels. The race to outmuscle each other in terms of resolution has slowed down to a kind of speed walking pace, right down to just taking 5. And 24 megapixels seems to be a figure that most camera manufacturers seem to agree is a reasonable resolution to start off with. That, and maybe they all get the sensors from the same place. But with 8K being the new thing that every man and his video shooting dog thinks they want for Christmas, apart from maybe a vaccine for COVID, 24 megapixels just isn't going to cut it when it comes to still images anymore. People will need more resolution, hence why you need this, probably. Well, yes, it's going to set you back $8,000 or £7,100, so you're going to need a generous person to gift you one of these. But if you like the Leica, then this is a great way of complementing your super sharp Leica lenses. Well, one thing I do want to point out is that this is no regular off-the-shelf sensor. I mean, maybe they do actually store it on the shelf somewhere in a factory, but I mean, they don't get it off any regular shelf, accessible to all. It's a high-up shelf. That still doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, you're probably thinking they could have put the same 47 megapixel full-frame sensor in the SL2 into this, but no, they can't. They couldn't, because the M10 is super slim, super compact. The SL2, less so. The M10 shape is, without sounding like I'm repeating myself, the perfect form. Scott for you like, but shoot with any other full-frame digital camera and go to an M10 and you'll realise how svelte it is. For a Leica geek, it definitely makes a lot of sense. It feels like a film M, apart from the fact that it's got digital bits, it's got a 3-inch touchscreen, it's got live view. I mean, who uses live view on a Leica M? All about the old world charm, isn't it? Understandably, what you'll find inside the M10R is pretty much the same as the M10. So it still uses the same Maestro 2 processor as before. You get slightly better dynamic range. Burst rate, not too different, 4.5 FPS versus 4.8 FPS of the M10. I thought they were a 90s thing. Some things are better off left in the 90s there. In the world of Leica, change is not always needed. I mean, not much has changed other than the fact that it's got a new high-resolution sensor. Focus, well, it has got a very special mask detection system, not just face detection. It's called manual focus. For sure, not everybody will need more megapixels. I mean, I've not really yearned for it. I've been happy with 24 megapixels. But I think very soon, 40 plus megapixels is going to become the ideal, especially with the ever-increasing resolution of video. So at least if you splash the cash on the M10R, it's going to last a fair few years. Which is great, right? But I tell you what has been great, just getting out on the street and doing some street photography again. Even though it's for just 30 minutes or something like that, didn't really care too much about the photos. It was just a great feeling to be out there taking photos Not being stuck indoors, talking about the specs of some machine or something like that, which is coincidentally what the next bit is about. What is this? This is a tour box. You like it? Yeah. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? And it's not because they pay me to say that. Let's show you exactly what is in the box. Instruction manual, paper, the tour box itself, posing pouches to put your product and your cable in. Oh, the cable. Braided cable. I like cables that are braided, not the slippery kind. I don't think it makes it any different, but you know, it just makes it feel like a nicer product. A bit different to the cheapo bog standard ones. But anyway, that's the tour box. Plugged in. Made sure before I've started this that firmware is updated. Software is installed, so let's open it right up. Okay, here we go. On the top left of the software here, we have got presets list. Now the presets are what all the buttons do within the software. Now I've switched that to auto, so you can see you've got Photoshop, Lightroom, Final Cut Pro right there. You can add more by installing that, going to their website and installing that. I've just got the free there. And that will auto switch depending on what software you're using. Pretty self-explanatory, really. Thanks for watching. See you again. Bye-bye. Okay, so we have got 3 dials here. One of those, one of these, and one of that, which clicks in as well. Okay, now let's get back to stamping this photo. I need to change the brush size, which can be done easily with a big knob in the middle. Then I can click the tool button plus knob to change the opacity, and then lastly, hardness with short button plus knob. The knob isn't weighted, so it does spin kinda freely. Some might prefer a knob with resistance. It's quite small, it's quite compact, there we are, compared to my face. That's about half a face size. About a hand size, it's a nice handful right there. Hmm? That's not a phone. That's not a very good phone, is it? Yeah. You can't even play YouTubes on that, can you? Yeah. He's watching Blippi at the minute. If only he knew what Blippi did before he was Blippi in a toilet with his friend. Yeah, anyway, it's small, it's compact. The feel of it is kind of like those silicone phone cases. Slightly rubbery. I don't think it's actually silicone, it's just the finish of it. So it feels nice and grippy. Yeah, so it's made for maximum grippage and it's got quite a bit of weight to it. So when you plonk it on your table right there, it doesn't kind of move and shift every time you're handling it. But the shape, I'm not exactly sure why they've gone for this shape. It kind of looks like those Pac-Man ghosts, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, then never mind. But yeah, the buttons, they kind of make a clicky sound that you'd get from a PC mouse. Okay, I think that's enough of the ASMR shiz. And then we've got a little cheeky button on the side. You know, it just all sort of fits in one hand, so I guess it's made so that you can have access to all the buttons and dials without having to move your hand away from it at all. I mean, eventually one day you just don't need to move. You'd be like one of those paintings in those cartoon ghost houses. It will literally be just your eyes moving. Nothing else. Oh yeah, it's got 7 buttons here, so one cheeky one on the side, top one, 2 here, 2 more here. And then a D-pad, which is essentially like having 4 buttons. Anyway, as standard, the top and side buttons, the cheeky little one on the side, and the top one here, will switch to function of D-pad. The D-pad function, you can see a little diagram here, overlay of what the buttons do. So when you've got the top and the side buttons which switch to function of the D-pad, instead of just having 4 functions, you've got 12 functions that you can do with the D-pad. I mean, at first I was kind of thinking that there isn't enough buttons on it. When I first looked at this, I thought, well, that's not really offering too much more functions than just a keyboard, right? Well, when you go to the Toolbox console to customize your controls, first of all, when you press the button, it'll take you to that shortcut, so you can customize that quite quickly. But also, when you look at that, you can press combinations of buttons. Top and tall button, top and short button, top and side button. So essentially you can have not just the buttons on here as shortcuts, but combination presses. And that kind of makes sense why the buttons and the whole controller itself are kind of oddly shaped, so that you can feel your way around the controller because you know where it is just based on shape of button and the shape of the controller. But also, it doesn't take up too much space. So, compact space, I guess that's good if you're working away from home. You might be in a hotel room, a small hotel room, not much space, and then bang, there we are. Alternatives, Loupedeck CT, more buttons, weighted knob, better feel, but an eye-watering $550. The tour box is $169. So there you go, that's the tour of the tour box. Okay, you know this bit is coming. Shout out to Squarespace. If you want to set up your own website, online store, or just your own domain, check out the link in the description down below. You get 10% off your first order and a 14-day free trial. Why use Squarespace? Because it makes setting up a website super simple with a plethora of templates and 24/7 customer service just in case things go wrong, which they probably won't. So if you want to set up a website easily and free of hassles, then do check them out. Thanks for watching. See you again.